but they had said something.
I don't know why. You guys always like to stand by the open microphone. The September 24th, 2019 session of the Peralta Board of Trustees will begin shortly. The board will receive a Clery Act presentation from Vice Chancellor Lee Sata and appoint members to the Parcel Tax Measure Oversight and Bond Measure Oversight committees. We'll also take up a couple of contracts, accept a few grants, and hopefully be out by midnight. The board's currently still in closed session. When they come out, we'll begin the meeting, so please stay tuned.
shirt.
It's gonna stain.
You know, because I just bought the shirt, so I gotta go wash this up with the shirt. I'll see you guys.
Madam Clerk, I think we are getting ready to call this meeting to order. Do we have a quorum?
Madam President, you have a quorum?
We have a quorum, and I will ask that we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by our student trustees. Everyone stand, please. Yes. Let's go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag, to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Madam Vice President, do we have any report out action taken in closed session?
Madam President, we don't.
I'll move to approval of the agenda. It's been properly it's been moved. Do I have a second? Do we have a second? We have a second. Thank you. The microphone is on, and will we ask is that all of our guests pipe down so that you can actually hear the meeting in motion. Thank you. So, can I have roll call on the agenda, please? It's been moved in second.
Student Trustee Stanley?
Yes.
Student Trustee Contreras?
Yes.
Trustee Withrow?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez-Yuen? Trustee Napoli-Bellarice? Trustee Brown?
Here.
Trustee Weinstein?
Here.
Trustee Bonilla?
Yes.
Thank you.
Just as a reminder to my trustees, that was a vote on the approval of the agenda.
Oh.
We'll move approval of the minutes, please. We have a first for minutes. I need a second.
A second.
We have a second. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Student Trustee Stanley?
Yes.
Student Trustee Contreras?
Here.
Trustee Withrow?
Yes.
Trustee Handy? Not here. Trustee Gonzalez-Yuen?
I'm sorry, can you
Approval
explain?
of the minutes.
It's for the
yes.
approval of the minutes.
Thank you.
Trustee Napoli-Bellarice? Yes. Trustee Brown? Yes. Trustee Weinstein?
Yes.
Trustee Bonilla?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you. We'll move to 3.7, Associated Student Government Reports. Oh, oh, yes.
Okay, good evening, Board of Trustees. My name is Spencer Staggers-Elmore, and I serve as the president for the Associated Students of Merritt College, Incorporated. And we have a couple of very interesting events that are happening on our school. Currently, Merritt is in celebration of the Hispanic Heritage Month. So we have the 43rd Treasurer of the United States coming to the school. She picked Merritt specifically. And that's happening this Thursday, September 26th. From 1 p.m. to 2:30, and her name is Rosie Rios. And on that same day, we're also doing an immigration celebration, which is offering immigrants resources, because we've had a student who wanted to donate to that, because she was a first-generation college student herself. So she realized there was a need for immigrant students to come think. So this is something to give back to the students, and we're having a couple of places coming to, and resources coming to the school, including Berkeley Sanctuary Covenant, Mujeres Unidad's activities, victims of crime, and then plenty other resources coming to the students. And we also are having, on October 10th, Road Trip Nation, which is accredited on PBS as an helping students find career maps and touring them to help find what kind of future careers that they want to do. They've also selected Merritt College specifically. So this is an open invitation to our Peralta sister schools and for the Peralta community to come to the campus, specifically in all those dates that I have mentioned. And that concludes my report.
Good evening, Board President Bonilla, Presidents of the Board, Chancellor White, and guests. My name is Karina Montes de Oca, and I'm the Vice President of Programs. I will be giving an update on ASCOA. Currently, we are putting the finishing touches for the preparation of our upcoming event, our Club Rush. Our Club Rush will be happening this Thursday, and the following clubs will take place at this event: the Vietnamese Club, Philippine X Club, the Veterans Club, and the Phi Theta Kappa Club. We are looking forward to watch our campus flourish even more due to the Club Rush. On top of the Club Rush, we are preparing for the next event, Intercultural Day, which will be held in October. We want to be able to share and acknowledge the different cultures on our campus on this day through the aspects of food, music, games. We are also preparing for the following events after the Club Rush. Nextly, the sales in our Coffee Bar 140, has seen sales risen up week by week. We continue to be student affordable by adding discounts that are student friendly. We plan on adding delicious seasonal treats throughout the semester. Overall, the Coffee Bar has had such a positive impact on our campus. Lastly, ASCO is planning a retreat in October that will not only strengthen the relationships between the student body, but will cause us to become the catalysts that create change on our campus. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Good evening, trustees. Thank you for having me on this fine evening. First of all, I would like to say happy Voter Registration Day. Today, in partnership with YWCA and the Campus Life at Berkeley City College, we were able to register 23 people to vote and also get 40 people to pledge to vote, which was awesome. One thing my vice president of administration told me the other day was that we should work on suppressing voter mitigation at BCC, and I'm glad that we were able to do that. On to the reports for the past few weeks. One thing that we've done is appoint all ASBCC members to participatory governance committees at Berkeley City College. We've also appointed ASBCC members to district-wide committees. In terms of projects, we're working on several civic engagement projects. One of those is a voter registration drive, which we're working on with the Club Ignite. We're also organizing a debate watch party so that we can promote voting for the election. This week, we're going to approve a housing project, a housing forum, which will be on the ASBCC website, which is going to replicate something that Cabrillo College has done, where students who are looking for affordable housing will be able to enter their information and register through our website, and also people who are providing homes will be able to provide their homes on the website. It's a work in progress. And another thing I'm excited about is a Safety Awareness Week at Berkeley City College, where we are working with the Berkeley Police Department to organize training for the students and faculty in case of a live shooter on campus. So one day will include self-defense training. Another day will include first aid training. And another day will be a day to remember those who have passed. And we're also working with the ICC to develop a second club rush so that we can hopefully improve club participation at Berkeley City College. And as an extension of last year, we're also working on the food pantry at Berkeley City College with the help of the student trustees. And yep, that's it. Thank you.
Can I get your name for the record, please?
Oh, Max Frinke? Max Frinke.
Good evening, trustees. I'm here on behalf of Terrence Williams, the ASLC president for Laney College. He had to work tonight, and so asked that I quickly just give a brief update. That the Laney College ASLC is working hard on planning deeper for the fall to bring life back to Laney College through events and advocating for student needs. A couple of things that happened in the last couple of weeks is they hosted Constitution Day on September 17th, where students were registered to vote, and students attended the Congressional Black Caucus, and that we are also planning for Undocumented Student Week of Action, October 14th. And lastly, we've been working to bolster the partnership with the Rotary Club of Oakland to distribute fresh produce on a weekly basis now instead at our campus. So, and Terrence said he will try to be here at the next meeting and rearrange his work schedule to do so. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. We will move to item 3.8, Peralta Classified Senate Report.
Good evening, President Bonilla, members of the Board of Trustees, Chancellor White, presidents, and guests. Tonight we have two campus reports. The first is the Berkeley City College Campus Report. The Berkeley City College Classified Senate will hold its first meeting on Monday, September 30th. The following items will be discussed: classified professional development, picking the top 2 areas of professional development, developing relationships with sister colleges, increasing representation within the various shared governance committees, staff retention and celebration, where they will look into planning a classified retreat, and the importance of a classified support day. And last but not least, fundraising projects such as a cookbook on holiday cookies and a bake sale. To reach successful outcomes, the Berkeley City College Classified Senate will choose 2 goals to accomplish during their first meeting. The second report is from the Merritt College campus. The Merritt College Classified Senate met today. The Senate discussed the results of its officer elections. The results are as follows. The Senate President is Doris Hankins. The Vice President is Carmen Johnson. The Treasurer is Alejandra Cerda. The Recorder is Annie Javier. The Secretary, Tachetta Henry. The Public Information Officer is Mary Spencer. They also discussed committee reports and appointments, division and department updates, accreditation appointments and training, staff development funding, and concerns regarding the status of the Veterans Resource Center, staff development funding, and other funding. That is the end of the campus reports. Thank you very much for your attention and support of the Peralta Classified Senate.
Thank you. And we'll now hear from our District Academic Senate.
Good evening, trustees. I'll be sending you my comments later, but today we finished our voting on a resolution, and I'm going to read parts of it, and we'll certainly be providing you a copy of it. This is going to our State Chancellor Oakley and the Board of Governors. This resolution is against the 73rd Community College District, known as Calbright. And it basically goes, whereas for the last year, the Peralta District Academic Senate has been highly skeptical of the California Community College State Chancellor and the Board of Governors in their advocacy and now implementation of the state legislature-approved fully online community college, now named Calbright. And whereas under the guidance of the State Academic Senate leader at the spring 2018 plenary session, the Academic Senate for California Community Colleges opposed the creation of the 115th Community College by acclamation. Whereas the California Federations of Teachers, a union of educationals and professionals, condemned the creation of an online community college in California, which led to a very public vote of no confidence delivered to the office of State Chancellor Eloy Oakley in May of 2019, whereas the Faculty Association of California Community Colleges also saw fit to not only condemn the creation of this college, but also to pass a vote of no confidence. Whereas despite valid criticisms and serious concerns from all major community college faculty organizations over the past 2 years, Calbright is now being referred to as the 73rd Community College District, and the recent passage of state legislation requires that the college have courses available by October 2019 fully online. However, it's been reported that Calbright College has opened a downtown Oakland, California center to provide support for students and house the offices for Calbright administrators. Whereas the California Community College Chancellor's Office must acknowledge that the 2018 State Budget Act creating Calbright forbade the college from duplicating the efforts of existing 72 districts. Calbright's publicized curriculum of medical coding, information technology support, and cybersecurity currently exists as both physical and fully online programs in Peralta Community College District. Whereas neither the State Chancellor of California Community Colleges nor the Community College Board of Governors has adequately addressed the legality of locating the 73rd Community College District within the Peralta Community College District boundaries, be it resolved that the Peralta District Academic Senate emphatically condemns the California Community College State Chancellor and the Board of Governors for placing the Calbright College Center in Oakland, allowing it to teach courses that are already taught both online and physically in the Peralta Community College District. And so we are basically requesting them to respond to this, and we are going to be copying you and our Chancellor. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Before I move to Chancellor report, I actually want to acknowledge that VC Harrison is sitting in for Dr. White this evening. So welcome, VC Harrison.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. The Chancellor has no reports tonight, so in fact, Chancellor White asked me to sit in for her very late this evening, and so we did not discuss any reports and any items that she wanted to make at this time.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, we're going to move into public communications.
So I have about 26 cards, and so I'd like to start with Sheldon Slaughter.
These are going to be all the students.
Okay. Aisha Jordan. Okay, those are the students.
Just two?
Yep, just the same name.
Greeting board members, administration, faculty, fellow students, and community. My name is Sean Slaughter. I have 4 concerns this evening, or 5. The first being college hour, whereas there had been a long-standing operation that classes wouldn't be scheduled between 12 noon and 1 p.m. Today we have students running from one class that ends at 12 p.m. to another class that begins at 12:15 or 12:30 if they're lucky, forcing both students and faculty not simply to eat on the run, but in class during class time. There are many activities scheduled during this time that helps facilitate shared knowledge, clubs, transfer day, wellness day, and so forth that are normally conducted within the quad between 12 and 1. But the information is bypassing many, and then students feel less connected. Less we are connected to our community, the more likely we are to drop out. Community is what helps us get through it. Secondly, I've been going through the website for Laney College, looking for information to shared participatory governance. for Laney College. While some have information posted, others do not. Asking for student participation for those closest to the problem have the greatest solution. The student cannot get a seat at the table because they cannot find the table. Third, I would like to address the partial closure of the Student Center because the elevator has been out since the first week of classes. Therefore, we are, stuck in the first floor. It's going to rain soon, and where are our students going to go during lunchtime or when it's time to eat? It's already crowded as it is, and the weather is nice out. Also, ASLC still lists their meeting times as Thursday from 12 to 1, but because many of the students have to attend classes between 12 and 1, they've had to change their time. However, that has not been updated on the Laney webpage, or I should say within the student services portion. Fourthly, since the leaks have been finally fixed around our campus, it would be nice if we could re-get or have, once again, some planter boxes and places to sit within our various buildings around campus. And also, trees are the only renewable resource of energy that we have in the entire world. Everything else is finite. Trees are the only things that we can actually grow. On a trip to China, on a train ride over 400 miles, I just saw rows and rows of trees. And you can walk around in China without a mask on your face, as, I don't know, for many of you are about my age. In the 80s, they showed people in China with masks on their face every day because it was so polluted. Well, today, they have reversed that. How did they do that? They did that by planting trees, but many species of different types of trees. And fifthly, my question is, can we sue Johnson Controls for breach of contract? Or who dropped it? So we've been under fire watch, and that money could have gone to, I don't know, the computer lab, where we could have been, had time to maybe have the computer lab open on Friday or Saturday. It could have gone to something else. Instead, we have people walking around the campus. Anyway, I think enough said there. Thank you.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. My name is Aisha Jordan, and I am a former student trustee and also a student at Laney College, and I'm a disabled student. Last week, I called in to speak about my accommodations not being accepted and other things as a disabled student. Many disabled students are having hardships where they're not able to continue with their education in our district. Our district is doing great work in every department. However, we can do better. Our educational mission and purpose is to support student success and educational goals. Disabled students and all students need to be a priority here at Peralta Community College District. We talk every board meeting about many things like finance, budget, facilities, all of which are very important. But most important are students. None of the people in this room would have a job if it was for students, and no one out here would have a job if it wasn't for students. So at the end of the day, we need to remember that we're all here for students, and also to help bridge the equity gap with students and really look at all of the data that has been collected within, I've been here for 3 years. I shouldn't even be here anymore. So let's not complain, because I'm not here to say, oh, this sucks. No, this is a great district, but we need to hold people accountable, and we all need to do our jobs and work together. So I'm asking if we could please have the climate survey that we said we were going to have last year. That is very important. We need that. And then also, if we could please have a follow-up to the safety implementation listening surveys that happened all last year where data was gathered. So we have all of this data and all of the information there, and we know where everything needs to go, but when people go to look for it, no one can find it. I don't understand why. Our presidents are working really hard, but they're only one person. So instead of bringing in new people or putting money here or there, we need to fill the gaps that we already have the data for, so that we don't just do Band-Aid work, but that we just kind of mold it and then go forward, because a lot of people could be helping, like the students that you have on your campuses. We know everything that needs to be fixed. We can help, and we have the money to do it. But we're just understaffed, and a lot of our faculty and teachers and students are overworked, and we have a lot of homeless students. So if we could just really help with the disabled students, because I can't, even myself, I can walk, but we have students that can't walk, and they can't get into our bookstore, and it's been closed since the beginning of the school year, the elevator in the bookstore. But we have the money there, but we just need someone to help to put the money where it needs to go and hold people accountable and train people for their positions. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Kathleen Witt, Michael Kahn, sorry if I get the names wrong, Scott Hashida, Gary Hasbrook, Richard Tholey.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kathleen Witt. I teach in the ESOL department at Laney College. I've been in... You can't hear me? Oh, should I start over? Sorry. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kathleen Witt. I teach in the ESOL department at Laney College. I've been teaching at Laney more than 19 years. I'd like to give you some points to think about tonight regarding parity and standard of living increases. So first, I'd like to say that part-time faculty put in just as much effort as full-time faculty. The current compensation that we're getting is not sufficient to pay normal expenses in the Bay Area and survive. Please consider the price of housing, food, transportation, and health care, which are increasing far more rapidly than our current hourly salaries. Having reasonable compensation is a matter of basic fairness. It's well known that the resources are available for step increases in COLA. Resources need to be directed toward the teaching staff and students rather than being wasted on administrative overhead. Please treat the points I've made seriously now. Equity and fairness are needed now. Thank you very much.
Good evening, trustees and administrators and the public and PFT and all of our local union brothers and sisters. My name's Scott Hoshida, and I'm an English faculty at Berkeley City College. I've been teaching for 11 years. I'm also the staff development officer for the district, so I oversee the professional learning for faculty across the district. I've also worked as the faculty diversity internship program coordinator, where we brought in a bunch of diverse faculty and trained them to participate in our school. And I'm here because as a full-time faculty, I want to stand in solidarity with our part-time faculty. Many times people think that there's a division between full-time faculty and part-time faculty, but I think many of us understand the deep value that part-time faculty bring to our colleges. It is incredible the amount of work that they do, and the treatment that they take is not necessarily fair. It can be demoralizing. It can be very difficult. I think about, I'm here partially because I think about a lot of my colleagues who sometimes have to take the toughest class times, who don't know if they're getting a class the next semester, right? These are not conditions that allows someone to have the generosity of heart that is necessary to meet our students where they're at sometimes. So when we really talk about wanting to meet our students, to be emotionally available to them, we have to think about how do we value the 650 part-time faculty in Peralta? How do we value them by giving them professional development, by giving them support, by giving them a fair contract? And I see this as an investment in the people in Peralta. We have low morale for a lot of reasons. We know this. We have FICMAT, we have CBT, we have the ACCJC report, we have the fire alarm issues. There's a lot of reasons not to be here. And yet we have part-time faculty who come back again and again who show up for students. So this is for them. And I want to say thank you for listening to me, and I hope that you can spend some time thinking about it, even talking to part-time faculty who've been in here for 20 years, 15 years, who've been putting their time and energy in Peralta. And I think this is an opportunity for us to make an investment in them and in our college as an effort to kind of keep moving forward as we try to pull ourselves out from these problems that we've had. Thank you very much.
Greetings. My name is Gary Hasbrook. I teach geography at the College of Alameda as a part-time instructor since 2007. Sure. My name is Gary Hasbrook. I teach physical geography primarily, but other geography as well at the College of Alameda. I've been teaching at the College of Alameda since 2007. I'm a part-time instructor. We have been getting approximately 75% of the salary that a full-timer gets because we are part-timers. It's my understanding that the rationalization for this is that full-timers spend 25% of their work week on institutional things as a result of being part of the college. I'm sure many do. I'm sure there are some who work an extraordinary amount of their time keeping the institution going, but I'm sure a lot of them don't also. Part-timers get nothing for shared governance participation. I have worked as part of the Academic Senate, a member of the Academic Senate at the College of Alameda. I have, for one academic year, represented the College of Alameda in the District Academic Senate. I take students on week-long camping trip to the desert over spring break. I get nothing for any of that. I do it because education is important and I believe in it. So, equal pay for equal work. Equal pay for equal work. It's a simple concept. It's an appeal across many strata of the society today, and it certainly is applicable to us. We do the same amount of work to grade. We do the same amount of work for lecture prep. We do the same amount of work to keep current in our field. We do the same amount of mentoring that a full-time instructor does for the same course. And it doesn't take much imagination to see that that is resoundingly unfair. So we would like equal pay for equal work. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Michael, and I teach part-time at BCC. I teach political science. The reason why I'm here tonight is not just for myself, but also for my students and my fellow colleagues, especially my part-time colleagues, many of whom were teaching or could not make it tonight. I think that sometimes we struggle silently without wanting to let others know what we're going through. One of my colleagues, specifically I'm thinking of, last year he was actually living out of his car because he could not afford to find a place to live based on the salary that he was making as a part-timer at BCC. So a lot of these struggles, we don't see them. We don't want our students to see them. And it's in part because we're here for the students. I don't want them personally to worry about those things. I want to make sure that what's first and foremost on their minds is how to do well in my class and to be able to accomplish their goals educationally, whether that's to transfer or to get an AA. When I started here back in 2016, I was really surprised at how much or how little part-timers made teaching one course. But because I enjoyed working with the students in this community so much, I began to feel like I had a strong vested interest in it. And I chose to stay and to continue to work with my wonderful students and colleagues in the hopes that I could make a career out of this. But lately, I have begun to fear that this will not be the case. And it is not only for myself, but I worry about what will happen to this district in the long run. And so I'm really urging you to please help us to get a fair contract, but also to keep in mind that this is not just about us individually, but it is about all of us in the long term. Thank you.
Good evening. Richard Tholey, SEIU 1021. I'm here in solidarity with PFT. And we have a couple or a few of our SEIU 1021 members also out here. And we want to support PFT in their struggle for parity for part-timers, and also to make sure that we get, or that they get that COPE push through, because that's something that I think all the staff deserve in this district. I want to remind you too that in a few months, SEIU 1021 will also be asking for the COLA, for the COLA push through that was recommended by the state, because we do have that clause. And so, I don't know, my suggestion is that you settle this now with PFT, because if not, you're gonna have to deal with this again with SEIU 1021, or with both of us at the same time. So what benefits them benefits us, which benefits our students, benefits our communities. We're not administrators. We don't get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're here working in the community, in the field, in the streets, on our own free time, using our own resources, oftentimes specifically for the instructors. And so I think that's a fair ask to be able to give that COLA pass-through. And I kind of see it also in addition, you know, I can't see it separate from us paying $500,000 to CBT, a couple $100,000 for external counsel. We bring in so many ICCs and consultants that do work, and they don't do the full scope or realm of work. They're here a couple days where our staff could be doing the same type of work every day and really be professional at it. But we're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars if we bring in, you know, technology consultants, you know, from the years past. We're getting into the millions and millions of dollars. And so instead of me bringing out a graph and a chart of all the kind of quote unquote wasted money or misspent money, you know, I just asked the board, the bargaining team, to really consider what is being negotiated and accept that offer. Thank you.
Thank you. Sandra Weiss, Mary Shaughnessy, Keith Brown, Linda Thompson, and Liz Ortega.
Hello, I'm Sandra Weiss. I'm the organizing director for the California Federation of Teachers. I can say to you with great confidence that our members, not only in this room but around the state, didn't go out over the last few years and get Prop 30 and Prop 55 both qualified for the ballots and then do GOTV and get people to vote for it to bring millions of dollars into the community college system so that you can give it to administrators. They did it so you can give people a decent COLA and pay part-timers parity. That's why they did it. That's why. And that's why we elect people like you, because we trust you to take that money and do the right thing with it. And if you haven't heard it yet, the right thing isn't giving it to administrators. It's making sure people educating the students, showing up day after day, doing their best, giving it their all, oftentimes sacrificing things like having a home, can get paid a decent wage, live in their communities, and have a standard of life that is not despicable and deplorable and embarrassing. And if I were all of you, I would be ashamed to sit up there until you fix this problem. You have the money, and mainly because these people went out and got it for you.
Good evening, board. Good evening, PFT. My name is Mary Shaughnessy, and I'm a counselor at College of Alameda. I was here 2 weeks ago and addressed you, and I talked about bad morale. You shared with us that you need us to tell you what's happening on the ground for you to have a real sense of what's going on. I will tell you that a failed contract negotiation yesterday did not improve morale at all. People are feeling very demoralized and not heard. And to be honest, I'm quite surprised we're here today, because last week or 2 weeks ago, I was so hopeful. I thought that you heard us. I heard the stories of my colleagues. I heard people talk about their rents. I heard people talk about their plights. I heard people talk about wanting equal pay for equal work, which is a fair ask. It's not an ask, it's a demand. We are asking for nothing extraordinary. A COLA pass-through for 3 years and equal pay for equal work. We are not asking for the bank. That is a reasonable request. I was sure when we left here that this board would want to hand a contract to a new chancellor coming in. That felt like a new beginning to me. It felt like a fresh start. And yet here we are again, 2 weeks later, a failed contract negotiation. We are months without a settled contract. We have a new chancellor coming in under a dark cloud with poor relations right now, morale going down. I am asking again that this board instruct the chancellor and the negotiating team to settle a contract with PFT that is fair. A COLA pass-through for 3 years and equal pay for equal work. It is fair, it is right, it is just. And I will share with you another thing from News on the Ground. We are in solidarity with each other. Full-time faculty are standing with part-time faculty in solidarity to insist that they be treated with the respect that they deserve. We stand in solidarity with our SEIU brothers and sisters as well for the COLA pass-through for 3 years. Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I am Linda Thompson. I am a part-timer at the College of Alameda. Thank you, PFT, for making me come tonight. I wouldn't have missed it for the world. Mostly everyone have already said, all the things that I wanted to say. I'm not going to repeat most of them. I just want to encourage you to give me my raise, as well as my other part-time faculty that are in desired need of their raises also. It is disparaging not to be getting paid the same amount of money as a full-time faculty person. I get paid for 12 hours a week and I work 50. And this is not just in the coaching part of it. This is my job as department chair, part-time faculty, on the curriculum committee, attend the Senate meetings, go to the health and safety committees, go to the facilities meetings, spend office hours more than the 2 hours that I get paid. I have about 10 hours of office hours that I give to all my students. And just sitting there waiting for something else, for one of my students to come asking me for help. Most of the time I leave campus at 10 o'clock at night. During the summertime, I left before the custodians, or left after the custodians left. They left at 8:30. I left at 10:15. That's mostly every night. We're not asking for much. We're just asking for you to give us equal pay as any of our full-time faculty makes for doing the same job. I teach kinesiology 150. There's a full-time person that teaches kinesiology 150 also, and they get paid many dollars more.
So if we're doing the same work, we should get the same pay. The second thing that I want to talk about is months ago, years ago, we talked about our facilities and how run down they were. And if you don't know, I'm blind in one eye. I got hit with a line drive baseball doing some volunteer work at Merritt College. I cannot see the stairs sometimes, especially if I'm really tired, because they are not striped. I fell down again yesterday and hit my elbow. I didn't write it up because nothing's really going to happen about it. I've sent out many facility requests to have this improved in our gymnasium, on the stairwells leading up to other classes, and that still hasn't been done. I really wait until the rainy season comes because I'm the one that took the video of the rain coming down in our gym. And I want to know if you sent us any monies to have that fixed, or is that still going to happen again when this rainy season come up? There is money here for you guys to fix everything that is needed to be fixed. I don't know why you're sitting on your butts waiting for what so that this can get done. These are not only for me as having a disability, but all the other students and other faculty that have disabilities, that maybe can't get into the bathroom, maybe can't get into the elevator because the elevator's broken down. They definitely can't climb up the stairs if they're in a wheelchair. You guys don't understand. There's some of the cement ground, the plates are coming up. I tripped over a plate the other day on our campus, unfortunately, where I almost fell. Lucky if I wasn't in such good shape at my age of 68, I probably would have fell down then too. So I just want you guys to really practice what you preach. When you say you're going to do something, do it. You know, stop holding whatever over our head. I don't know why you won't give us our little raises that we want. It's not that much. I don't know why you don't fix the facilities. But I do understand one thing. There are some people that are not here tonight. There are some people that are not working because maybe they mismanaged some funds. Maybe that's the reason why we're not getting things done. We need to get all of this fixed, okay? Faculty, part-time faculty, pay raises, clean up our areas, get the things in place that needs to be in place on the campuses for handicapped people. I don't even know what to say. I'm just sick and tired, really. I'm just so tired of going through the same thing year after year. If you don't know, I've been here for 25 years. The same thing is going on that was going on in 1994 when I first started. Right. Okay? And nothing has changed. No chancellor has came in here and made a change. I'm hoping with the new chancellor coming in, maybe they will make some changes with the people that work with them and get some things done around here. This, you know, I don't even know what to say anymore. I just tell you, I'm just tired of talking about it. You know, it's not about, I'm not living on the street. Some people are, you know, maybe I can afford to drive a better car than they do because maybe somebody's paying my bills or whatever. It doesn't really make any difference. What's right is right. Equal pay for the same faculty, part-time faculty that are doing the same work. Fix the facilities. The money is there. Lastly, Fund 10. I worked my butt off to fundraise with my team to raise monies for our programs. And now you want to hold Fund 10 hostage. You need to give us our money. We need our facility monies and we need our team monies out of your pockets because you're not going to do anything better than we can do with it. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Good evening, trustees. I'm Keith Brown. I'm a teacher at Bret Harte Middle School, and I'm the president of the Oakland Education Association and also a former student of the Peralta system. And I'm here to say that enough is enough. It's time to settle a contract now for our Peralta faculty. There's no reason that I have to be here again to relay this message. And it's important that we have equal pay for our part-time instructors here in the Peralta system. The Peralta Instructors play such an important role in our community, providing vital education and services to our families in the Bay Area. And they provide so much support for our students that we serve in the Oakland Unified School District to have access to our valued Peralta faculty here. So I'm here just to stand with the Peralta Federation of Teachers and say, settle a contract now. They deserve a fair contract. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, board members and President Bonilla. I'm Liz Ortega, Executive Secretary Treasurer of the Alameda Labor Council, representing 135,000 workers across this county. And I'm here to, including PFT, AFSCME, and SEIU, all here to send a message that we need a fair contract today. Faculty and classified employees of this higher education institution should not be standing here urging you to not give them a second-class contract. We will not stand for it. The rest of labor and workers across this country are standing up and fighting back, and Oakland is no different. We are watching, we will be back, and I urge this board to lead and settle this contract today. Thank you.
Thank you. So now is there John Murphy, Matt Freeman, April Bankhead, Robert Brown, and Jeff Sinceri.
Good evening, board and PFT and all others who are supporting this cause. I have been at Merritt College for 23 years. I'm full-time faculty, and my name is John Murphy. I am working in student health services, and I also teach in the allied health programs. I'm here to speak for the counselors and student health services. We cannot keep them. We cannot retain counselors because they get 1/3 the wage they would receive in private practice. Do you realize that counselors with 6 years and more experience in counseling, for mental health counseling, we're talking, make $40 an hour. They make $150 an hour in private practice, and we cannot retain competent and very qualified counselors because of this high turnover. So I asked for parity for the part-timers for the counseling service as well, because they are faculty. Okay. Thank you.
Evening, board and fellow union members and community. My name is Matt Freeman. I'm a full-time political science faculty at Berkeley City College. I've been at BCC now for 10 years. I started in Peralta as a part-timer right here at Laney College. I come to speak to you a little bit about the human side of contract negotiations, because you see, 3 months ago, it was my wife's school district down in Union City that was on strike for 3 weeks. And during the course of those 3 weeks, when we organized and marched together in solidarity, members from the PFT, Liz from ALC, and other unions throughout Alameda County recognized that what was happening in Union City and in Oakland before that and all over the state of California was not a unique and unfortunately not an uncommon problem. And here I stand now, not as a husband of a wife who taught in a district that was on strike because of a similar issue with budgets and priorities, but as an employee of a district confronting yet again another budget that reflects presumably a different set of values. I was taught very early on in my study of political science that politics is about the improvement of people's lives. Those words were uttered by former Senator from Minnesota, Paul Wellstone. It is your task as elected members of our community to leverage the power of your seat to work at improving the lives of people. You have power, you have capacity, and you have the support of the PFT, not just in our endorsements, but in our presence here tonight. You have the support of the community and of our students. It is time to leverage the power from the seats that you occupy and recognize that with the power and of the position that you hold in our democracy is about improving people's lives. So I urge you with all sincerity and with the shoes I wore months ago in strike with my wife and my 3 boys, and in solidarity with all of labor who have organized all across this country, to recognize that now is the time to end this impasse. Now is the time to leverage your power as electeds to work at improving the lives of people and form some groups to put pressure on the administrative negotiation side to pass this contract and give full-time and part-time faculty the contract we deserve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, colleagues all. My name is Robert Brem, and I teach political science and psychology full-time with Alameda. I also teach part-time at CSU in public affairs, and so I actually have the experience of being on both sides of the divide here. I taught 12 years part-time before I came here, and racked up 30,000 miles a year to do so, and had the same issues. And for me, what I think really comes to play here is that at some level, we are engaged in an act of oppression. Our students see all of the faculty members as equals, as they should, and our part-timers all engage in shared governance. There's 600 of them here, over 600. They're 65% of our faculty. I was talking earlier today that in the 80s, it was the exact opposite. Maybe 75% of all faculty members were full-timers then. But if they are, in fact, crucial to our mission, then we ought to treat them as the equals that they are, the equals that they're seen to as our students. And yet some of our faculty members, some of our colleagues are living in cars, obviously, are living in some substandard housing. And I hear their stories, and there's nothing I can do about it, but you can. And so what I think is important, and by the way, Regina Stroud, cool. I think we can do some really innovative work with this chancellor. And I think it's one of the first times since I've been here in 2004 that I can say that. I hope I'm right. But if we give her the gift of a contract in place, the gift you will be giving her is that any contention is off the table. We're one team. Give us a contract. Game on. Let's do this. And my colleagues have already spoken to every other detail that I might say now, so let us just say that this is the right thing to do. You want to do this. This is an easy one. Just do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. My mother told me that last time I spoke too quickly and that it was hard to follow me on YouTube. So I wrote this down. I'm going to try and follow it and speak in a normal voice, modulated, as they say. Look, we've heard some things. I'm on the bargaining team. We've heard some things. We've been busy. We don't have the time. I'm working night and day. I'm working on the weekends, heaven forbid. I'll tell you, I'm a faculty member, and I work on the weekends and nights, too. These are things that they say in response to our request for information. It's difficult not to feel as if teachers aren't a priority to the administration, in fact. We're in the final stages of our negotiations, and one of our 2 biggest sticking points is about whether we are going to pay our instructors equally. We've asked for evidence for their position, and they're too busy. Too busy to give us evidence that they promised, to give us concrete reason why we can continue to have inequality within the ranks of our faculty. They say they can't give it to us, then they're too busy to give us a serious explanation as to why. Now, I understand in the wake of the FCMAT report, self-preservation might instinctually take over. As a teacher, we all know how difficult it must be to feel like we're in a professional or financial danger and still being asked to make sacrifices. We do that every day, especially our part-timers. For teachers, this is definitely our everyday. I myself communicated with about 400 of my faculty yesterday, asking them to come out to this board meeting and publicly ask or just even beg if they have to for equality. Some of them are here. PFT? I'm much better at the chanting part. Some of them are here. A lot of them aren't. I'm here. The work I do on the bargaining team is as a volunteer. Being here now, like all the people around me, this is all volunteer. All right, thank you. This is all volunteer and commitment to their colleagues, which we all have, commitment to one another. And the reason we're doing it tonight is just for a living wage and equality. No one's trying to win the lottery here. We all know that this parity in COLA for 3 years pass-through is a reasonable ask of the district, but that it would also mean, well, honestly, it would mean the world to us as teachers. A lot of the people that I talked to wanted to come, but because they were part-time, the most common responses I got was they had to teach a class tonight. They had to go teach at Chabot. They had to teach here. They had to teach at DVC or even as far away as Hartnell. Many others told me that they had work to do. They had another job altogether. They had children to care for because their spouse works in the evenings. Some told me that they were out wandering the district parking lot looking at all the fancy cars. I'm just kidding, I made that one up. That one I made up. Also, many of them expressed frustration over the fact that the administration seems intent on making teachers pay for the administration's mismanagement. They said that there was no money for they said that if there's no money for us, where did it all go? Yeah. I directed them to the FCMAT report, my colleagues, when they asked me that question. Otherwise, I don't have answers. I don't know why our colleges are getting less money while the district is getting more. I can say, however, that a common practice in administration is to protect yourselves first and then tend to everyone else with what is left. This is not just Peralta, this is everywhere, which is too bad. The FCMAT report itself basically lamented the exact same fact. My point is that a lot of people, these 400 people in fact, they wanted to be here tonight, but because they don't make enough, they don't have time to fight the way that I do. Like I said, we're in the final stages of bargaining right now, and all it would take for us to finish is for the administration to stop stalling and do the work of prioritizing our faculty and the students they serve. I hope they do. I don't know how much we have left to sacrifice.
Okay, is April Bankhead here? Janelle Hampton? Chris Weidenbach? Kimberly King? And Rick Greenspan.
Good evening, board, administrators, staff who are working tonight, and PFT crew, members of the community. Very good to see you all here tonight. My name is Janelle Hampton, and I'm a resident in Oakland, California. I am a product of Oakland Unified School District and Laney College. I raised two beautiful twins in Oakland. I pay very close attention to who I vote for. And I'm currently employed in the labor movement, proudly. And I was once a teacher here, part-time, at every college except BCC. Still might be in the cards for me, I'm not sure. But I don't teach here anymore. Teaching was my calling, and it still is. Actually, I feel like I teach every day. And as a part-time teacher for Peralta Community College District, I changed lives, so many lives. But more importantly, I was exposed to the beauty of our student body, and they changed my life too, for the better. And all this happened because I chose a career in teaching. I chose to serve. As happens in life, I wanted to start a family, and not long after my twins arrived, I realized I wasn't making close to enough money working at this community college and two others as a part-timer to provide for them, especially benefits. I couldn't provide any of that working as a part-time teacher here, even though it was my dream to stay so. It was never going to happen without pay parity. And I had to choose between my calling and my service here and supporting my family. And I don't think that's a choice any part-time or anyone should have to make. I rolled with every punch Peralta had to offer, from class cuts at the very last minute for no good reason when even the numbers didn't warrant it, to paying for my own copies, to elbowing out other part-timers for, at one time, very rare office space. It was challenging. Without pay parity, a life committed to what my dream was, what I was made to do, was absolutely never going to happen. You're at impasse now. Impasse is a choice. Freeman's right. You have the power in your seats that you occupy by our good voter graces to change this situation, to pass through the COLA for 3 years, and to adopt pay parity for part-timers. It is long overdue. That pay is long overdue. Administrations and boards across the nation have taken a stand at impasse and lost a lot in the last few years. And that's as it should be. But here, you're obviously seen as part of a team. Do not be the district that has to be told what to do to bring your people what they are working for, what they've earned, what they need, what they deserve. Don't be made to achieve pay parity, pay equity, equal pay for equal work. That's a basic. Be the district you were meant to be. Be the pearl of college districts in the Bay Area. Support pay parity for part-timers. Pass that COLA through 3 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Chris Weidenbach. I'm the English Department Chair at Laney College, and I think I'm related to Janelle Hampton. I'm just thinking, when I was out here a couple weeks ago, I was so impressed, not only at the number of part-timers who showed up to advocate for the, resolving this contract negotiation and moving forward, but I was very proud of my full-time colleagues who basically spoke one after another about one thing: pay parity for part-timers. I didn't expect that, actually. I thought it was just like, we want the COLA, let's get it done. Generally kind of what people think of unions as doing, which is each of us looking out for ourselves. And that's not what was happening. And that's not what's happening tonight. But I am, again, humbled to be in the company of a bunch of part-time colleagues who just have it stacked against them. Their lives are, it's just much different. It's a much different existence. And yet they're putting in time to show up out here. They were here on time. And they were here with spirit. And they're here with a clear purpose. And they know what needs to happen. And I think you all do too. I think you all know it. In fact, maybe we could do an experiment. If you believe in pay parity, I know we're not going to signal each other. If you believe in pay parity for part-time instructors, please keep breathing. Okay. I also have some good news to share. Last Friday, over 300 people came out for the Oakland-Laney climate strike. We rallied for about an hour and a half. It was mostly people under the age of 14 speaking on a bullhorn that was loaned to us by a very kind Oakland PD officer, because the Montclair Elementary bullhorn was almost like a toy. And the call around the world has been like, these young people are standing up, and they're kind of done being kind, and they're done being polite, and somehow they're holding on to their dignity, but they're saying, anyone who thinks you're gonna move the needle a little bit, or that the business as usual is gonna get it done, right? That the power structures are run by the best and brightest, and they're basically doing a good job. They just have a few little, no, they're not impressed. The kids are saying it right now, like, You blew it. You've been blowing it. If you don't stop blowing it, we gotta get rid of you quick, because we can't go on like this. And I think that's a pretty good analogy of what's been going on. And it's not a faculty perspective, you know, gripey. I'm the cranky guy from Laney, right? The cranky dude from the English department in Laney. Whatever, I'll wear that. But I ain't saying it. FICMAT's saying it. The ACCJC is saying it. We say we voluntarily participate in this accreditation business with an accrediting agency. They're saying it. The district administration is way too big and expensive. Let's just keep it simple. That's the fact. We're going to face 10 or 12% cuts at the colleges when we need more enrollment, when there's thousands of more students we could be serving. No, we are not going to take this. I know that's not why the PFT is here tonight. That's not the one thing we're here to talk about tonight. But we are not taking this laying down. We are not taking those cuts in the spring. Absolutely not. And we know how to not take things. We're really good at it. We've been winning. We're on a winning streak, and we're going to keep winning. So let's get it right, okay? Please, let's get it right. Let's get it right.
Thank you. Kimberly.
Hi, everybody. Hi, PFT. Woo! So, you know, we're just here to urge the chancellor to settle a fair contract for PFT. I also ask you that you urge the district's negotiating team to bargain in good faith. They have promised to provide information to us, and they told us we're too busy to provide that information. Sorry. They told us they have too much to do to fulfill their promises in a bargaining situation. Well, faculty are busy too. We teach, we mentor, we work on committees. As student leader Aisha Jordan said, students are the only reason any of us even have jobs. We don't get paid that much. We have to work in very difficult circumstances. We're here because we love the students. We love the students of Peralta. We love working with the diverse, hardworking survivors that our student body is. I'm not getting paid to be here right now, as others have said, but I must be here for my part-time and full-time sisters and brothers. My part-time sisters and brothers deserve equal pay for equal work. I was talking to one of my part-time colleagues in the hallway last week, and I was shocked to find out she teaches 10 classes. Why does she do that? Because she doesn't know what she's going to get next semester. She's afraid of saying no to people because she's not sure if she'll be able to work in the future. How is that good for students or faculty if somebody's having to teach 10 classes? It feels like slavery almost. We work really hard. All we're asking for is just equal pay for equal work and a simple cost of living allowance in the most expensive housing unit in the country. It would be really nice if the trustees were not talking to students while the faculty are trying to speak. It's very disrespectful, Ms. Handy. I would never do that while you're talking.
This young lady is ill. I was suggesting that she go home.
You've been doing that the whole time, so I agree. I agree if she should go home if she's sick.
Since you love the students, I think you understand that when we have a sick student
What I understand is that you have not been listening to a thing we said the whole time.
Order, please.
Faculty who don't make
Can we let the speakers please finish? Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Can we get back to solving the problems that this district has? The cost of firewatch at Laney since January has been $12,000 a week. Merritt College is now on Firewatch 2 for $6,000 a week. That probably would have solved a lot of our problems. Can we just please get back to that and stop wasting time? Faculty who don't make fair salaries and who are struggling to pay bills are doing the best we can to be there for our students. Please do your best to help us. Please provide your faculty with equal pay for equal work and a cost of living allowance. Thank you.
So Rick Greenspan, Brock Drazen, and Jennifer Shinosky. That's it.
Rick and Brock both had to leave. So you get me. So we're all here tonight to talk about getting a fair contract. We could be here to talk about the deplorable conditions that many of our faculty must contend with every day. Low wages, classrooms that are dirty, outdated, and unwelcoming, a bureaucracy that's sometimes almost impossible to navigate, missing paychecks, and the list, as you all know, because we're here week after week, goes on and on. We're here to demand that the district do the right thing and simply pay all faculty the same amount for the same work with the same level of education and experience. We're here to demand that we pass through 3 years of COLA for all Peralta workers so we can move on to the many, many other issues that plague our district. What we are asking for is not unreasonable. It's the minimum of what faculty should get in Peralta. The district negotiating team says they can't afford it. They say that they've looked under every rock and can't find that money. They repeated that line yesterday. I've identified a number of different revenue streams that could be used for parity, and I've shared that list with all of you. I've not yet received any response regarding those particular possibilities. So today I spent some time studying the budget book for more. And I noticed a few things that I'm really ashamed to say didn't jump out at me earlier. I noticed that the budgets for every college went down this year as compared with last year. For Laney College, their budget went down by $3 million. I also noticed that the chancellor's office budget didn't change almost at all from last year. And while other district office service center budgets, bear with me, this gets really wordy, technical. While other district office service center budgets were all decreased by a fraction, the centralized service budgets for each of those offices went up. In fact, if we add together the district office service central and centralized service budgets together, and account for the bad debts, what we see is that district office budgets apparently are collectively increasing by $2 million this year. I know many people that work in the district. I like and respect many people that work in this district, but the district does not serve students. The district is supposed to serve the colleges because the colleges serve students. Faculty serve students. We show up every day despite the many struggles that I've listed before because we're doing the work that we love. You've heard so many stories from faculty about what the difficulties associated with careers in education have within them. And many faculty have left because those difficulties simply just become too much. At yesterday's meeting of the Bay 10 colleges, reports from faculty leaders were really positive. West Valley Mission is giving a 10% raise over the next 2 years. Chabot will be giving a 9% raise over the next 3 years. Contra Costa is getting 9% over the next 3 years as well. Foothill De Anza will be getting 3.5% this year, a 2.5% one-time bonus, and COLA minus 0.5% next year. We at Peralta are simply asking for equal pay for equal work and for a pass-through of COLA for the next 3 years. A 3-year contract so that faculty have stability and can move on to start working on the many more important and pressing issues that face us all. We've reached an impasse, one that we hope can be resolved and reversed quickly. And if it's not, we'll be back.
Thank you.
Does that conclude public comment?
Madam President, that concludes public comment.
Thank you for that. We have one more public comment. You have one more public comment?
Yeah, I believe there's a public comment from a representative at ASKIP. There should be a slip for that.
I've read all the...
Oh, I'm sorry, I have a, so yes, please, we have a very, please come up. This is an ASKIP presentation that is scheduled for the end of public comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, President Bonilla and members of the board, Vice Chancellor Whitaker, and all other representatives over here. My name is Nidra Kumaradas, and I'm a Senior Director of Workers' Compensation at Alliance of Schools for Cooperative Insurance Program, also known as ASKIP. I'm here to share some good news with you today. That Peralta Community College was given a rebate, a workers' compensation rebate check of $147,956. And you must be wondering why we are giving a rebate check. Nobody's asking me that question, right? So the reason for this rebate check is because of all the work that Ms. Whitaker and Mr. Roberts and Ms. Burdick have worked to try and mitigate and control your workers' compensation program here at Peralta College. It's a lot of work, and they've been putting a lot of time over the last few years, and we've been giving rebates back. This is, how do you achieve this? You wonder, okay, how do you achieve it? You achieve this by doing effective risk management and loss control services, also working closely with your employees to make sure that they receive the medical attention as soon as possible when they're injured on the job. And Ms. Burdick does that really well. And also getting your employees back to work. And more importantly is avoiding unnecessary litigation. We also need to complement the team working closely with ASKIP. And also there's a third-party administrator called Sedgwick, they were known as York, they were bought out, who also mitigating closing the claims out. ASKIP was delighted. We gave actually most of our school districts and community colleges rebates because you're part of a pool and you work very closely together. Because more importantly is, right now in the environment, workers' comp costs have gone higher and there are more claims. Can we improve? Yes. We never stop improving. And as a result, we prefer to give the district the money back so it goes back to your education versus going to pay out claims. So I just want to thank you for your time. I want to commend Ms. Whitaker for putting the group together here at the district office, and I look forward to working with you guys and hoping that you will get more rebates as we work together. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Before we move to our next presentation, I just want to make a brief statement. I know that PFT has mostly gone by now, as they were chanting on their way out. But I do want to recognize their presence. I want to recognize their voice. It's important that they come to these meetings. As I stated in our last meeting, it is only through their shared voice, their unified voice, that we as a board get the total picture of what is taking place. I also want to make sure that the PFT leadership understands that the district is most definitely directing the chancellor to negotiate good faith negotiations. And so we look forward to that continued negotiations to maintain its efforts in moving forward. So thank you for that. And we will now move to our presentation on the Clery Act by VC Sada.
Thank you, President Bonilla, members of the board, administrators, college presidents, and members of the public. I'd like to give you a brief update on our security plan, which is part of the Clery Act overview. The Clery Act is a report that requires all colleges to provide crime statistics on the various campuses. Specifically, there are very specific crime statistics that we are required to report, and it is a condition of receiving federal aid. In fact, without these reports, we can be fined on an annual basis by the U.S. Department of Education. So why is this important? Well, many crimes, in particular sexual assaults, are not reported to the police, and the Clery Act requires that the colleges and university community gather and publish this crime data. I do want to share with you the report, which I believe you have a hard copy of. If you don't have it, it is posted on the website already. And also posted on the website, thanks to our new PIO, Mark Johnson, and his team, we have the Personal Safety Handbook, which is part of this report. Requirements of the Clery Act, I've just given you the overview, so I won't read these, but you can see the specifics that we're obligated to report, including the location of the specific types of crimes, and also note that, again, we're obligated to provide this by October 1st of every year. This is just a reminder that we have a responsibility to report, and we have, as you know, a three-legged chair in terms of our security operations. We have the Alameda County Sheriff's Office, which is now under contract through the end of this fiscal year. We have a district contract with ABC Security through the end of October of this year, and we have our Student Security Aid program, which is largely run out of Merritt under the leadership of our president, Marie Elaine, Dr. Burns, up there at Merritt College. Again, these are the specifics of the issues that are required to be reported, and if you note that more recently hate crimes have been added to this list. Also, the Violence Against Women Act, which was originally passed, I believe, in 2004, has continued to be updated, and with more specific reporting requirements for dating violence, domestic violence, and stalking. In addition to that, we wanted to share with you, as was noted last year, that we do have an emergency notification and communication piece of software called Blackboard Connect. And in addition to that, we rolled out an app this year called Campus Shield. The annual tools for communication are shown here in lists. We have the security report itself, the personal safety handbook that I just shared with you. These were all blasted out by email to the community and are again posted on our website. If any of you didn't get a hard copy and you'd prefer to have one, we'd be happy to run those copies for you. Also, as part of our security apparatus, we have emergency blue phones. You know that we've been pushing our teams to get these installed. It's been reported out earlier that we have replaced half the Merritt phones. We have now 10 working phones at Merritt, and we've replaced half the phones at Laney, so we have 15 working phones at Laney. We are in the beginnings now of phase 2, which is the design phase, to increase the number of phones both at Merritt and Laney, add some phones at BCC and at COA. A couple of additional guidance and resources for both you and our students and our community. And then I'd like to invite Lieutenant Verbeck from the Alameda County Sheriff's Office to walk through the crime statistics for the previous 3 years. Lieutenant Verbeck, are you here somewhere? There you are. And it's this button.
Oh, fabulous. You guys should all appreciate this moment. You'll be the first people in the public to see me with glasses on. All right, so what you see here is the Berkeley City stats. And as Vice Chancellor Sada explained, the crimes that we have to list are specific in nature. And you'll see the crimes there. And the latest report is 2016, 2017, 2018. It's always a 3-year report, and it based off the last year. So as you can see, Berkeley City College is doing very well. Mostly zeros. We have a couple of ones on there, and I can address those if you want to know what that's about. But to have 0 or 1 is a extremely low crime number. College of Alameda, the same thing. Our crimes are extremely low. 0 to 1, we have a 2 there as well, and from 2017. But for the most part, we're at the 0-1 range. Very low crime as well. Laney College, for where it's at in an urban environment, our numbers are still extremely low. If you compare these to any other community college in an urban environment, and I don't want to name any, but if you just look in the Bay Area on the Clery reports, you'll see that Laney College is also very low in their crimes that we have to report. And last but not least, merit. So again, you're looking at 0s, 1s, 2s, and 3s. Those are extremely low numbers. Then these final pages that you have a lot of zeros. What that is that's crimes reported by non-police, and we don't really have that dynamic on any of our campuses. Everything gets reported through us, through Berkeley, through Alameda, or through Oakland. So you're going to just see zeros on all these pages. Does anybody have any questions on any of that? And then just real quick, I wanted to show you, because it's all part of the Clery Act. I'm not going to make copies for everybody, but we also keep a public information log. This log is in our station. And so if anybody wants to come and look and see what crimes, what reports we took, this is updated daily. And by law, you have to have available to the public the last 60 days. So that's in this binder as well. So we're meeting all the Clery requirements. There's nothing that Clery needs or wants from us at this moment. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll open it up for questions.
Pardon me, Board President Bonilla, do you mind? We have a few more slides that we added to this deck compared to the one that you received.
That's different from what we have?
Just to show you that we have board policies and procedures in place, I can just quickly step through them if you're interested, or we can just hold at this point.
We can view.
Okay.
Sure.
So we just wanted to quickly remind everybody that we have procedures to report a crime, and we'd like to teach our students exactly what they should be speaking with when they do call our dispatch. I mentioned earlier we have this new app called Campus Shield, and that is sitting on our district website. You have great board policies in place, how to report a crime, local law enforcement, board policies 3515 and 3520. And then additional board policies around sexual crimes, 3540 and 3500. There have been sexual assault education and prevention programs. We just wanted to make you aware of that, as well as some other programs that are happening locally at each of the colleges. And then wanted to just briefly, and this is our last slide, fill you in on some of the next steps. We've been hearing some of the concerns that have raised in previous board meetings. The Alameda County Sheriff is sponsoring a series of Let's Talk workshops, October 1 at COA, the 10th at Merritt, and 24th at Laney, and has committed, as you know, to becoming more present in the student community. I attended a community meeting sponsored by Occupy Oakland with a specific intent of learning more about the CAHOOTS, Crisis Intervention and Crisis De-escalation program, at the request of certain members of this board. DGS has met with program sponsors Margaret Dixon and Mildred Lewis, both faculty up at Merritt, to discuss the possibility of expanding the Student Safety Aid program. They believe it's a win-win. Our students are interested in this program, and really this is their home, right? This is their campus, so they have incentive to do a great job for us. DGS this morning, actually at 10 a.m., held a mandatory pre-submittal meeting for a private security company. We had 8 firms in attendance, so we got good attendance, and the goal is to bring a contract to the board to this board for approval before the end of October, when the private security contract expires. And then we will continue to work with you to design a security plan that addresses the safety and security of our students, faculty, and staff, and meeting the principles set forth by the governing board. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. And can we make sure that we get that version from the board clerk? Thank you.
we'll open for questions. Okay. VP Weinstein.
Thank you, VC Sada. Quite frankly, I question these statistics. I don't question that that's what you have received, and I question them all through the state of California. Because if you look at the statistics in many of the colleges, not just community, a lot of people say 0, 0, 0, 0. So I would like to know what kind of a workshop or workshops are you doing so that I can feel assured that students, faculty, staff know how to contact you or the sheriff's office in case there is a problem, because I'm concerned that people are not coming forward.
Sure. Do you want to share a little bit about the Let's Talk? And then do any of the presidents want to share if you've done anything this year?
So like in the past, the safety handbook is always available for people, and as well as on the websites. So we put out there many avenues for them to contact us. Now, like you said, maybe people don't come forward. We can't force anybody to come forward. But I have a good feeling that all these stats are accurate as our campuses. I think of some of the colleges you might be referring to, or what is the bigger colleges, the state colleges that have dorms and stuff. Those statistics are usually out the roof because you have dorms, you have drinking, you have all these other things going on that we don't have at a community college. So I believe our stats are very accurate. I get them from Berkeley, I get them from Oakland, I get them from Alameda. But on the case where if somebody doesn't come forward, I don't know how to quantify that number because, frankly, we can't.
So because of that, I wonder if you could, you gave us a little bit of information tonight, but I wonder if there can be some kind of a description of what you do in order to make sure that students have the information that they need. I saw some of those things. But I want to make sure that every student who comes in here as a new student or a student returning has the information and knows how to contact somebody and report a crime. So I wonder if there is some kind of a description that you can do for this year coming up so that we know how the information is going out and how many of the students are participating.
So what we did today, correct? He's busy. I believe it was today. They posted it. They sent it correct today. They put it out in an email to every student that's in the system of where to get this information to, so they can provide it to us. And if they're not in the system, it also went out to their text message. So they texted to every student and emailed it to every student. The information
today
provided today, correct. And they're going to do that going forward. So that's something that the district is going to do. As far as the Sheriff's Department and what we can do, and Peralta Police, is we're doing the Let's Talk series that's going to be kicking off. And we're hoping to make the face-to-face contact with the students, faculty, and staff to feel comfortable coming forward to our staff and talking to them. And that's why we're out there on the bicycles and walking and other stuff, trying to make ourselves more readily available than just picking up a phone and calling.
I appreciate that. Okay.
May I just quickly add, Trustee Weinstein, this is the personal safety handbook that has been blasted out to students, and it does have some of that information. And also, I'd like to maybe ask one of our presidents to speak here.
So at the beginning of each semester, I can speak for Laney College, we send email announcements to students with letting them know all the safety links to the campus, including the campus video about safety tips that I did last year. And so we do that at the beginning of each semester. Also district-wide, we do send out notifications through our requirements related to other provisions that we have to notify folks in October and again in the beginning of of the spring semester regarding everything to do with crime and safety, as well as drug-free campus work that we're doing as well. So we try in the ways that we can to notify students, as well as doing other things in conjunction with the district.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. I have Trustee Brown and then Trustee Gonzalez-Wynn.
Thank you very much for the report, VC Sada, and thank you very much, Lieutenant, for the report. And through the Chancellor, I wanted to ask, or I guess maybe I should ask my board president, but I wanted to ask about the student engagement and the discussion we had a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about our safety and security, about engaging students, having students' voices. And I understand we're having the Let's Talk, but we had talked about having a forum or a platform where there could be more discussion involving the students. We have formerly incarcerated students. We have students who are from our community that may work around work their schedule around the timing, not taking classes, maybe at night if they don't feel safe. There are a lot of issues that we need to hear from the students on, and we had been working on that through our safety committee that VC Weinstein and Trustee Withrow were chairing. And I wanted to know, there's more work that we need to do with our students. And my question is, where is the outlet, where's the platform for that work to continue? And I think that would be through my Chancellor and through my board president.
And so thank you for that, Trustee Brown. I'm going to actually go back to an earlier comment that has been made repeatedly by our former student trustee, Aisha Jordan, on the safety survey and the facility survey, which capture a lot of the safety issues and facilities issues. And this would actually have been a great platform to have seen some of that information come through as a part of this Cleary report. I know, again, it sounds like that information has been requested time and time again, and maybe we can follow up with the Chancellor and request that information and hopefully be added to this. And we would definitely, as a board, like to see that information as well, those surveys come through. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Board President. And I might just add my plug again. There's ongoing work that really requires our students' input. And the survey has been done, but there's also developmental work so that we can be current and engaged with our community and our students. And I would again say that the consideration of a platform for that and restoring the platform for that is important for us to do the work that the board has committed itself to.
May I ask a question to that question? We will look into the DGS files. As you know, that survey was done by my predecessor and is likely going to be information that would have come from a survey in 2017, I'm guessing. And if that still pleases the board, we'd be happy to present those findings, assuming I can locate it. But it will be, just so that you know, it will be information that's a year or two old. Okay?
Thank you, VC Sada.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the presentation. Trustee Gonzalez.
Thank you very much for putting together the book and the data. I've got a question about the record keeping that our security services do. Let's say a sheriff's officer or a public safety aide has an interaction with a student or a member of the public on the campus, and let's say it's around some activity that we're trying to discourage, let's say smoking, something like that on campus. Would we keep a record of that interaction? Is that something that on a regular basis, when a sheriff's deputy has an interaction, let's say they find somebody in a locker room, they say, we don't think you're supposed to be here, or there's somebody who's smoking on campus, they say, you know, you're not supposed to be smoking on campus, here's a warning. Is there a regular record so that we know how many interactions our public safety officers and sheriffs are having?
The answer to that is both yes and no. So we keep a daily log of activity, but that daily log is only as good as the deputies, and meaning that they have to provide that information to us. Now, could it be when a deputy walks by somebody and says, hey, no smoking on campus, and the person says sorry, puts it out and goes about their business? They may not document that particular one, but we are trying to get better at document every contact we have with everybody for that reason, so that when you ask that question, I could say, yes, we have every single one. But for the most part, anybody who's doing, you know, any type of crime, or, you know, but the person riding their bike through campus, you know, we may say, hey, slow down, get off the bike, that type of thing. We're not documenting all those.
Okay.
But we are trying to do a better job at every interaction that we have with people. And we're doing that in our daily log.
And do we have a protocol that both the student aides as well as the sworn deputies are supposed to follow in documentation?
In that daily log, correct.
Okay,
now,
so
the student aides keep a separate log for their interactions with people.
But there is a
as far as the
protocol,
daily
there
log,
is training, there's a standard where they say, if it rises to this, it
Correct.
actually needs to be documented. If it's this, it's an optional, and if it's this, don't bother?
Correct. And
Okay.
ABC Security is also doing their own log as well.
I'm asking because I think Vice President Weinstein is saying, well, one, I'm not sure if this data is accurate, but we've also had our former student trustee talking about interactions with sheriff's deputies that didn't go very well and so forth. And I'm thinking that as a board, trying to understand the scope of the services that we're providing, the kinds of interactions that if, like, okay, the Clery Act report, mandatory, we're fulfilling our duty to the law, but in terms of being an informed board, trying to make decisions about contracts with the sheriff's department, alternatives, what kinds of services we need, what the student interactions are, I'm thinking we need something a little more detailed. Just one example, on some campuses, you see a lot of cigarette butts, you see a lot of vaping. We actually are trying to discourage that, right?
Correct.
We have the ability to write tickets for people who are smoking on campus. To my knowledge, in the maybe decade that we've had the authority to do that, to my knowledge, we've never had a ticket written. And it's like, all right, so are we using our police authority? Well, those are the kinds of interactions that I think would be helpful for me as a board member to understand the nature of what we're doing, the kinds of services, the kind of interactions. So I want to encourage us to just rethink how we do reporting and discussion about our security. This is a good baseline legal minimum, but it doesn't really help us very much as a board.
Right. So Trustee
thank you.
Gonzalez, yes, thank you. And I think that's good information for the board to review and continue to deliberate on what we expect in terms of reporting and outcomes. And
Can I say something on that real quick? We do a daily log that I send out to all the campuses. I have no problem sending it to all of you, one of you, whoever like that, and you can get our daily log.
Sending it to the chancellor and/or to the board clerk is perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much.
President Badil,
Yes.
I think we have a comment, or at least from one of our presidents of the college.
President Tomanik, yes.
So Trustee Yuen, I think the Clary report, I just want to emphasize that it isn't just a compliance document like a report that we do every year, because if you recall, BCC was audited in 2017, and one of our recommendations was that our security services do a better job of consistently logging any incidents, whether it's an interaction around smoking, or, a disturbance on campus. So we do have to do that as part of following the recommendations.
Thank you very much for that information, and that's exactly the kind of more robust conversation that I'm suggesting, that we need more than the bare minimum, that we actually need working documents that will help us as a district do a better job for the entire community. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for the presentation. Oh, Trustee Handy.
Thank you for your presentation. It sounds a little conflicting up here. I believe that you give a presentation based on what we ask you to give us. And if we want more information, then that has to be clarified and asked. I think it's just disrespectful when people come up and give us a report and then we act like that's not what the perimeters that we set for them to do that. I think that there are more things happening, but I also believe that there's a very thin line between us getting daily reports on incidents, on small items, and then students feeling harassed. And I recognize that on one hand, you guys are hearing the students are saying they're being harassed. On the other hand, they're saying, well, we want more reports. I think that that is something that the students should be having the conversation about how they want those things to be handled. People smoke. I don't like smoking. Are we creating smoking areas for those who smoke to go out and smoke so that they won't smoke on campuses? I took classes at night. I hate when I have to walk through somebody's smoke because I have asthma and it creates a lot of problems. But I would hate even more that we had the smoking police running around asking things of students. I think that we need to hear specifically from the students what types of things that, or how we can approach some of those things and also continue to be in compliance and have everyone feel safe and have you feel that you're giving us what we need because we've asked for it specifically. We haven't been, we haven't said this and then we want to change whatever. I think we have to be clear on the directions, but I also think that it needs to be student-centered because they're the ones who are going to deal with the repercussions of those actions. I don't want to see, I think that if a student is riding his bike on the campus, we should just ask them to keep it going. If you keep seeing that person on a regular basis, then maybe you want to talk to them about it. But usually students are running their bikes through because they want to keep their bikes with them because they don't want their bikes to be stolen. I know that's what the case would be with me and my bike. So we have to figure out ways to allow them to do that. I think that on the very serious issues that we see there, I don't doubt that those happen. There may be more things that weren't reported, but you can't put in a report that you don't have. So I really think it's important to focus on what does it look like to have student government or students come together and have a discussion with you around safety and what type of things that may be concerning them so that everyone could feel like they're included. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Handy. Student trustee.
I guess that's where we go where the conversation needs to be held on a bigger platform. It's one thing when the administration and faculty say one thing, but I believe student input has a lot more to do with it, just because we're the ones that have to do mainly with saying and speaking up. I believe that working with our security team is as valuable as they log in things, but if you don't have the student perspective, especially to somebody who's been formerly incarcerated, that's a very uncomfortable platform. It's not the first person that I would personally go to. I would feel more comfortable on a different platform speaking to someone else rather than a police officer. But that's just from a personal perspective as a student. But like I said, this conversation needs to be elevated on a different platform with more student input, not just the board members here or yourselves. If we can have this conversation collectively and come with something rather than this.
That's all I was asked for, though.
It would, I mean, I'm not saying that this is bad, but unless the conversation is being held with the students, then, because I feel that you guys just have your input, but what about the students really input, like exactly what they want to say and what hasn't been reported, what is on paper? So, like I said, I think it is a great idea to have it on a different platform and in a bigger platform so it can be addressed.
Thank you for that. That's very appreciated. And this is information that we will definitely carry forward to both the current and incoming chancellor. Thank you again for the report.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Yes.
we've reached 10 p.m. or 2200. I make a motion that we extend the meeting for 30 minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. And the motion carries. So we'll extend the meeting until 10:30. We will move into consent calendar. And may I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second? We have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Student Trustee Stanley?
Yes.
Student Trustee Contreras?
Yes.
Trustee Withrow?
Yes.
Trustee Handy? Trustee Gonzalez-Yuen? Yes. Trustee Napoli Abella Reese? Trustee Brown? Trustee Weinstein?
Yes.
Trustee Bonilla?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. We'll move into action items. 10.1, consider appointment of members to the Parcel Tax Measure Oversight Committee and reopen the application period to accept additional applications for the committee.
Move approval.
Second.
Yes, Madam
So-
President, members
Yes,
of...
Chancellor.
Sure, members of the board. As we know, in 2006 and 2012, there was bond measures that was passed, and of course, in 2018, the voters gave us another bond, which is the Measure G. Resolution 1819-42 created a bond measure oversight committee and a parcel tax measure oversight committee. It is also indicated that the terms of the members of the existing committee would end on March the 15th, 2019. So for that reason, we had to open it up and allow citizens to apply, either those who are currently on the committee to reapply so that we can establish the committees again. The district received 5 applications for the Parcel Tax Oversight Committee. And this included the application of 3 prior Oversight Committee members. We received we have sufficient members, if you will, to constitute this committee. And of course, the chancellor will use a lot system because all of them are coming on at the same time. We'll use a lot system so that they can stagger their terms, so that everyone will not be coming off at the same time or everyone is going on at the same time. So the recommendation is that the board accept or approve the members who applied for this, the 5 members, and that we reopen it so that we can, I believe, if I remember correctly, I think we have 1 position that is not filled. No, that's on the other one. Is that we reopen it to see if there's any others that want to apply. But this is the recommendation of the chancellor.
B.C. Harrison, thank you for that. I do have a clarifying question. So in reopening, and I totally support the reopening, will we just leave the application process open until all the positions are filled
That's
on this
correct.
committee?
Right, that's correct.
Okay. And the current number right now are 5 for parcel tax oversight commission.
Yes,
And the recommendation from the chancellor is that we accept and approve all 5.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. We do have a question. Trustee Brown.
As I understand the statute, the applicable statute, it says it's no less than 7, no more than 11. So with the 5, we have a quorum and we could start meeting.
That's my understanding. But we'll reopen it so we can add additional members because you said, you wanted a minimum of 7, I believe.
Oh, absolutely. I just wanted to make sure we could get going.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's an exciting piece. Any other questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Student Trustee Stanley?
Yes.
Student Trustee Contreras?
Yes.
Trustee Withrow?
Yes.
Trustee Handy? Trustee Gonzalez Yuen. Trustee Napoli Abella Reese. Trustee Brown.
Yes.
Trustee Weinstein. Trustee Bonilla.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
The next item, 10.2, consider appointment of members to the Bond Measure Oversight Committee and reopen the application to accept additional applications for the committee.
Madam President, may I make
Yes.
a motion?
Yes, please.
I move that we accept the members listed with regard to the at-large members that we we need to recommend two, and I see that Andrea Dawson is listed as the Senior Citizens Organization member, that we accept as at-large members Kevin Jenkins and Patricia Ellis.
Do we have a second? We have a
Second.
second. So we have a second. We can open for discussion. Is there discussion?
Yeah.
VP Weinstein?
I just want to clarify here. So we have Andrea Dawson, who's in both Senior Citizen Organization and at-large member, correct? So she's going to be in one of those. So then we have 3 left in the at-large members. Is that what you're?
Right, and so my motion is that we accept Kevin Jenkins and Patricia Ellis because we need 2 at-large members, and Andrea Dawson is listed twice on that list.
So it's my understanding is, just for clarification, is that we can have more than 7 for this one.
That is true, but my motion would not change. I still think that in terms of the applications that I would like to recommend, that we, for the at-large members, take Kevin Jenkins and Patricia Ellis.
That's the motion that you have right now with a second. Yeah, so further discussion. Trustee Gonzalez.
I'd like to amend that motion to add Jeffrey Heyman as a at-large member.
I would not accept that amendment, and I'll tell you why. Because we have been working on dual enrollment, we've been working on recruitment, we've been working on community outreach. We have been working on trying to engage our community for years. And the person that you've recommended, Mr. Heyman, was our PIO, and we could not engage the community through that staff person. It's been 5 years of declining enrollment, and we've had a very difficult time, in part because of the relationship that was demonstrated with our community. And it's something that our colleges and the PIOs in our colleges dealt with. It's something that we dealt with as a board, and it's something that we dealt with through the former chancellor. And it's something that has been a chronic problem for us. We need community representatives that are engaged in our community, that support our community, and that are ready to outreach to our community, and we just did not find that. And I find it problematic that with the experience that we had, we would believe that the best interest of the district is served through that recommendation. So I don't accept the amendment.
So there's a motion and a second to amend. Does not need to be voluntarily accepted by the maker of the initial motion. And I just respectfully disagree with the analysis of my esteemed colleague. I suggest we just put this to a vote and see whether the amendment
Can I get
can be
parliamentary
accepted.
clarity on that?
I believe you have to vote on the first
We have to vote
motion
on the
first.
first motion.
Not
Yes.
the amendment. The motion would be considered, the motion had a motion and a second, it would be considered before an amendment to the motion would then be considered.
I believe that is incorrect. The amendment to the motion is considered first. If the amendment fails,
Trustee
then the
Gonzalez,
main
Trustee
motion.
Gonzalez went through the chair, and I will call order on this, that your amendment.
I can double check.
You will double check, yes. Thank you.
President?
Yes.
While she's checking, I want to remind the board that on this particular committee, we have one group that is not represented. No one is applied, and that is the Community Support Advisor Council, a foundation. And specifically, we want to reopen this for a period of time to give the opportunity for someone, especially for that slot, to apply.
Thank you for that clarification. And we are waiting for council to provide clarity. I know she's busy. No pressure.
Might I suggest we move on to a different item and return to this? While we do the research on procedure?
I think she's coming forward with that. We'll move to item as council continues to review that. We will move to item 10.3, consider ratification of contract agreement with Parking Concepts, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $425,000 for parking for Berkeley City College faculty, staff, administrator, and certain guests. Sorry.
Madam President, may I move items 10.3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 as a group? 10.3 through 10.8, yes.
And we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. We will take roll call if there's no discussion.
Student trustee Stanley?
Yes.
Student trustee Contreras?
Yes.
Trustee Withrow?
Yes.
Trustee Handy? Trustee Gonzalez Yuan? Trustee Napoli Abella Reese? Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Weinstein? Trustee Bonilla?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you. We are still waiting. We can start with trustee reports.
Sorry, I'm ready. We do, trustee Gonzalez-Yuan is correct. We do vote on the amendment prior to the original motion too. So there would first be a vote to determine if the amendment can stand as part of the,
So we had
motion.
trustees amendment, and then we had a second for the amendment.
Was there a
Is that
second?
correct? Yes.
Okay.
And now we vote on accepting that amendment or not.
And then there would be, if the amendment is voted up, then there's still a vote on the motion itself, but as the amended motion. If the amendment fails, then the original motion is voted on.
Yes. Okay, so we will take roll call on the amendment. This is Nikki, this is trustee Gonzalez-Yuan's amendment. Roll call, please.
Student trustee Stanley?
Yes.
Student trustee Contreras?
No.
Trustee Withrow?
No.
Trustee Gonzalez Yuan?
Yes.
Trustee Napoli Abella Reese? Yes. Trustee Brown?
No.
Trustee Weinstein?
Yes.
Trustee Bonilla?
No.
So now, we would now take a vote on the original motion, which was, sorry. Oh, trustee Handy.
Trustee Handy?
Trustee Handy, your
Trustee
vote?
Handy was a no.
Okay, sorry.
So
Now you would have
the
a roll
motion,
call on the
the
original.
amendment failed.
The amendment failed.
We go back to the original, the original motion, which is to, can you please restate your motion, trustee Brown?
My motion is to accept the applicants with the specific designation for at-large member for Kevin Jenkins and Patricia Ellis only.
And there was a clear second on that. Thank you. We can now take roll call.
Student trustee Stanley?
Yes.
Student trustee Contreras?
Yes.
Trustee Withrow?
Yes.
Trustee Handy? Trustee Gonzalez-Yuen?
Yes.
Trustee Napoli Abella Reese? Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Weinstein?
No.
Trustee Bonilla?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you. We will move into.
Sorry, President Bonilla,
Yes.
the staff recommendation also included reopening the applications because we have one statutory
Yes.
provision that's missing, so we do need direction that it's okay to keep that open.
Yes, it is definitely okay. I think I read that as just a total part of
Thank
the
you.
item. Thank you for clarifying. Board of Trustee reports. I can start to my far left. Trustee Withrow.
Pass.
Well, sorry. I want to report on our trip to Washington. Yes, it was an amazing experience. I thank Trustee Handy for allowing us to go on that trip. It was very inspirational, and it showed us, being a minority group, what we can do in this world, and we're not suppressed, and change in this world, being African Americans. And I really appreciate Trustee Handy for allowing us to do that, go through that experience. And Herb.
Dr. Kitchen.
Yeah, Dr. Kitchen. Oh, thank you.
Thank you for that. Trustee Handy.
This summer, I have opportunities to do total immersion with our students, and I've recovered now, and I love them again. First, I accompanied the 16 students from our 4 colleges for the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation Cultural Exchange with China trip. It was the most incredible experience for our students. I just can't even begin to tell you how amazing it was. We spent the first 4 days in Beijing, and then we went to Lanzhou, where we were the guest of the Chinese government, and attended classes at Lanzhou University, as well as being given all of China's history in a very short, intense time. I've gone on trips myself with the chamber and things to China. This was something very exceptional. I mean, we had our meals every day with our host, the professors, and with the Chinese students. We went into areas where they really did not see people of color, and we had to learn what it was like to have paparazzi. People would sneak and take pictures of us, and then we had all agreed we were not going to be offended by that. We would just stop and beckon to them. Grandmothers and everyone else would come out and surround the student and take pictures. Some of them still think some of our taller students are actually Lakers and Golden State Warriors. Our students did play basketball with the Lanzhou students. They actually went viral the night that we arrived, and the next thing they knew, all these African students came up to the basketball courts and they played, but because our students didn't have cheerleaders, they did not win that night. It was an amazing experience, and I'm so grateful for the district and for our Congresswoman Barbara Lee for selecting us to have that honor. I came home and I slept for 2 weeks, and then literally slept for 2 weeks, and then we went to our Congressional Black Caucus trip again. And I want to thank our lobbyist, Ackerman Spees Group, who spent over a half a day with our students answering all questions about all things government. Congresswoman Barbara Lee, who so graciously invited us to the breakfast in the Capitol, in the Congressional building, and then arranged for Capitol tours for our students. They had many, many opportunities. They'll be giving a presentation to you all later. But again, I want to thank the presidents who support one student from their campuses, and I want to thank all the ASs who supported the second student for giving our students such an incredible opportunity. And on that trip, we had 11 students. Okay, and thank you.
Yes, Student Trustee Romina.
I was very fortunate enough to go to CBC. It was a very much learning experience in different aspects. I definitely want to thank our Congresswoman, Representative Barbara Lee, for being so gracious and how she did say, we do have the most woke district in the country. So meeting her and how powerful she was and how well respected she is in DC goes to show you how much she does care about our district. Also seeing different aspects of how much work we still need to do, not just nationwide, but also here locally. Also how much work we need to do over on the East Coast and hopefully get people to lobby on the East Coast where it really does matter. Because if I did learn one thing, if the Democrats have to worry about winning California, we're in big trouble. So it was a great learning experience. I've also learned that being a minority in this country is very, very difficult. Me speaking, I am African American, but also being Latina, you get to see a different aspect where we still need a lot of work to be done amongst one another and how we do really need to support each other. So for me, it was just taking a learning experience and also seeing how big of a powerhouse we are here in the Bay Area with all the tech companies that we do have, and also making sure that we make the right connections to bring it back to our community colleges, especially having Salesforce, Google, and tech companies of that nature, just so we can even get college credit just for having them here in real life experience. So just making connections. Loving Representative Barbara Lee was probably the highlight of my trip there. And I also did meet Dolores Huerta. So if you guys do know who that is, that was probably also another highlight, especially being Latina. Yes, and so thank you for everyone for giving us the opportunity as students to go over there. It was an amazing trip. I'll never forget it. It changed my life completely.
Trustee Brown.
Well, I'm thrilled every time I hear students talk about that life-changing experience. It's so wonderful. This year I could not go. And I also am on the foundation board, but I couldn't go either because I had to work. It was a civil rights conference, so I felt like I was able to pursue my passion. I was actually working in Southern California, so I missed a couple of things. It was the gala and the board meeting for one of the youth groups I'm on the board for, Youth Uprising. But all that said, I did have an opportunity to go to a meeting of the NAACP for Oakland involving education. It was an education forum, and they were talking about things that the education forum was near and dear to our hearts, and our educators will, I'm sure, relate to this, because they were talking about students doing literacy training early, screening for dyslexia, and learning through phonics and very basic training at the early age in K-12. And I asked, well, what can we do as a community college to work with the articulation between K-12 and community college? And although, they had their presentation ready, but what I heard from the presentation was really that the likelihood of positive outcomes for a person's life have a lot to do with literacy and reading, and it begins early. And I know as educators that there is the opportunity for our brilliant people that are here, our faculty, our administrators, our students, to change people's lives through learning. And so it reinforced that, but it also let me know how much work is still to be done. So it was inspiring, but also it let us know that we still have a long way to go in reaching everyone and making sure that if there's a diagnosis that needs to happen, that it happens early. So I wish I could have been with you guys in Washington, but I had to stay here and sort of go to work, but maybe just hearing your stories and maybe watching your video, I'll live vicariously.
Thank you, Trustee Brown. Trustee Reese.
I feel like we're all very tired. We've been here since 9 o'clock this morning, and I have to say it's been a phenomenal day. It's been a phenomenal day because we interviewed 2 candidates today who were of such great caliber and such sophistication, and we were lucky and fortunate enough to have been able to spend an hour and a half with each of them, and it was a hard choice, but I also think we made a really good choice. And I look forward to the pivot in the trajectory of the district. I look forward to strong financial teams. I look forward to the many things that we've needed to do that we, I believe, will begin to do. So.
Thank you, Trustee Reese. Trustee Gonzalez-Wynn.
Thank you. I want to echo what my colleague, Trustee Reese, just said. You know, sometimes our board doesn't necessarily agree on stuff, and what was quite pleasant today was actually really working shoulder to shoulder for the benefit of this district, and unanimously agreeing on a new chancellor who will bring extraordinary talents and experience to the district, and I think will be well received, well loved in this community. I also had the opportunity last week to attend the Faculty Association of the California Community Colleges first social justice conference in Los Angeles at the UCLA Labor Center. It was an extraordinary gathering of, it was a small conference, it was a half-day conference. It was an extraordinary gathering of over 50 faculty members and the 2 student members of the California Community College Board of Governors were in attendance. And in particular, I want to note that our colleagues over at DVC did a really wonderful presentation on interdisciplinary social justice curriculum in the classroom, embedding that work in the community, doing student engagement and internships. And I think we can learn quite a bit from the cohort of faculty members doing this work. We heard reports from faculty members who are routinely registering 3,000 and 4,000 students a semester on their campuses by embedding voter registration projects in their classrooms. So that was fabulous, and I'm looking forward to this Thursday's VAC South Bay Advocacy Conference as well. We learn a lot from our faculty colleagues in the district and throughout the state, and I feel honored to be among their ranks. Thank you.
Thank you. VP Weinstein.
Yes, thank you. I had the opportunity while we were getting ready for the Board of Governors presentation to reach out to our electeds in this area, our assembly members, our state senator, our mayors, our city council members. And what was terrific about it was that they were very, very supportive of Peralta and really wanting to help us be strong again and be in a better situation financially, as well as helping us to bring in more students, because this is an amazing place. So that actually was an honor for me, and it was nice to know that our community electeds are here for us. And I think I want to thank them for standing up and supporting us. And I was very moved by tonight's meeting. Obviously, the Peralta faculty was very heartbreaking, actually, to listen to them. But I always learn a lot from them, and I'm happy that they're here and doing the work that they're doing. So I want to thank them for that. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just want to take a few minutes to also recap that September was a very challenging month as the Chancellor, along with her team, Vice Chancellor Harrison, Vice Chancellor Siri Brown and Vice Chancellor Chanel Whitaker spent a tremendous amount of time, Mark Johnson and her entire team, the presidents as well, all 4 presidents, who spent an incredible amount of time pulling together the presentation along with the implementation plan from the FCMAT report, which is now called the recovery plan. It's a recovery matrix plan. It's a very long name, so I'll just give you that. And we were at the Board of Governors at the September 16th meeting in Riverside, California. We gave a very strong presentation. I believe that Chancellor White and I presented well. We told our story. We got the information across to the Board of Governors that we are responsive. We understand the urgency of the district's fiscal needs, and that we are determined to work together as a board as well as with our administration to ensure that we are on a pathway to fiscal stability through our recovery plan. And as a result, the state chancellor's office has assigned a fiscal monitor to us. And I just want to recognize for a moment Mr. Jim Austin, who is our fiscal monitor, unofficial, that will become official soon. But I want to welcome you to Peralta, and we look forward to having at least some sort of engagement with you in the very near future. I also want to thank Vice President Weinstein for her leadership working with the electeds, our mayors, our legislators, to move those letters forward. That was no small task. It was a very heavy lift, and I really appreciate the work that you did on that. Through your leadership, those letters were absolutely amazing. And before I close, and before you all run out of here, one last very important thing. I also want to thank VC Albert J. Harrison for your service to the district. We have a recognition for you here, and I'd like to take an opportunity to read this, and I'll just read the first part. But yes, if you would please stand. Whereas the Peralta Community College District Board of Trustees strives to honor those providing distinguished and dedicated service to the students, colleges, community, and district, and wishes to recognize the service of Albert J. Harrison II, PhD, and Dr. Harrison came out of retirement to serve as interim chancellor and finance of administration. Whereas Dr. Harrison's loyalty and skills have made a major contribution in support of the work for the countless number of faculty and educational goal achievement of students, be it therefore resolved that the Peralta Community College District honors Dr. Albert J. Harrison. Thank you. And with that, I'd like to close the meeting. Thank you all.
The next regular board meeting, Madam President, will be held on October 8th here in the district office boardroom.
Thank you.
Another 13-hour session?
No.
Oh, come on.
Oh, no.